The couple, Muyuan, the Wuling swordmaster, and Pulanyan, the Divine Lady Jasia, are congratulated on their wedding day. They are his rebirth and seem to belong to the owner of a small family. He said something bad had happened. Muyuan. Shelves overflowing with gold beads, calligraphy, and painted utensils. Muyuan noticed a large, short vase. Relief featuring a bas-relief of a bear's head. He rolled the bear's head, revealing the passage to Eden below. It was filled with various swords. They were weak, magical swords of little use. The previous owner, his father, had used the clan's elite combat power in his lifetime to destroy the family's enemies, but they were ambushed, and the entire army was destroyed. Their weapons were the best, but now they were nowhere to be found. Muyuan received a visit from his younger sister. The young man assumed she also wanted to take the magic weapon. Thanks to, with his talent, Ume was able to enter the treasure vault. Unfortunately, Jin Chun forbade her from doing anything. The girl came to return the martial arts manuals to her brother. She thinks she's still too stupid to understand anything. Muyuan wants to see his sister's spirit in this world. People cultivate by awakening their spirit. The spirit is condensed into breath, and everyone only has one. It can take various forms, such as weapons or even people. Misuskume. He was glad that the memories of the previous body had merged with his own. He recalled that the man's name was Moore. Dipped her hands into the bowl of water, and a sword appeared. Muyuan saw the sword, and realized that there was no. Took King Glue's martial arts book, but to no avail. Agumi is ashamed to admit it, but his spirit hasn't changed since it first appeared. He doesn't know when it will take on a human form. His older brother advised him to go to the library to find the right training techniques to advance to the next level. However, it turned out that the books only contained low-level exercises. They were fine for learning the basics, but if you wanted to learn more, they were of little use. Muyuan had already learned many martial arts techniques, so he could teach them to Gum. But, first, the girl has to read 2 books, and then her older brother will teach her higher-level techniques. Gumi is thinking that the content of the books doesn't seem like powerful sword techniques. Muyuan advises him not to worry, and to just practice this cultivation method. He promises that in just 1 month, the girl will see results. Fengyi City is in a remote location, and their cultivation methods are very outdated. The boy still doesn't understand how Marshall. Murray asked him to accompany him as soon as possible because something had happened to Jin. Jin, the hero, realized arts techniques interact. For Umi, he chose sword techniques and techniques that will correct her deficiencies. Muyuan still, he doesn't know how to restore his own spirit, but in any case, his strong sister could still benefit from it in the future. The girl was indescribably happy to have such assistance. Now, they headed to the finance hall to find an elixir for cultivation. Bua received the elixir every month, and if it wasn't enough, the girl cultivated for a longer period in the room. A man sat on a throne with beautiful girls waving wands around him, but he was not happy with their performance. He admonished them. This was Muyuan Chun, Jin Chun's nephew, who had seized control of the family property. But Joan considers us unworthy of such a position and is planning to take care of them himself. Later on, the boy reveals to him that he needs an elixir for cultivation and intends to take it. Chun refuses to allow it, explaining that it is very difficult to maintain the household. Cultivation elixirs are very expensive, and aside from their fixed monthly income, the family doesn't have any extra money. Muyuan and Guman didn't believe him. Muyuan realized that they were suspicious of him. Muyuan declared that, from this day forward, Chun, he realized that he belonged to one of the 4 great families, specifically Hin and Chenan. Perry was annoyed that a young is no longer in charge of the finance room and ordered the man to leave. According to the rules of the Mu family, all room owners can be appointed and dismissed by the landlord with the consent of the elders. The new owner cannot dismiss him arbitrarily. Muyuan gets punched in the face by Muyuan, and he feels unworthy and indignant. How dare he hit him when his uncle is one of the elders? For saying that, he is punched again. The man is expelled from the property line, crying and begging Muyuan not to hit people for no reason, and that the elders do not support him. Muyuan says that if any of the elders disagree with his actions, they should come to him directly. 5 days have passed, and a man asks for a stranger to take Muyuan's murder more seriously. This isn't the first time the murderer has targeted this family. Now it's the son's turn to be killed. The elders can't deal with the boy themselves. There was a minor incident, but the elders couldn't handle the problem on their own, so they asked the killer for help. When he left for the west, the family requested that he take care of it. The guest has already left his home. The man calls Shua and gives him Muyuan's father's sword, which he had taken. Family master had come to them, as he had always been against the Mu family. Because of this master, there had been, after killing him, he thinks it's amusing that he'll die with his father's ball after so many days at home. Muyuan has. He managed to repair 6 or 7 parts of the sword, but its spirit remains weak. He fears that, at this rate, it will take 9 or 10 years to repair the ball. This is a problem. Muyuan noticed that the roof was leaking, and a small puddle had formed on the ground. Small puddle on the ground. Each drop attacked Muyuan, and these drops were being controlled by someone. The boy didn't know where that person was. He found him on the roof of a house. Shua pushed Muyuan down, not expecting that the boy would have any strength left. He took out the sword that belonged to the protagonist's father, and Muyuan recognized the sword. Shua told him that Muyuan's father had died by his hand, and that he would now kill his son with his father's sword. The assassin attacks the boy, but Muyuan stops the sword with his bare hand. Muyuan directs his body against the sword, but his strength won't hold out for long. Muyuan suddenly lets him grab the opponent's sword, but this body is unable to use this technique. Muyuan never thought that he would have to reincarnate and die. An accident in his family. Now the master is young and untalented, and the boy wondered if the Mu family had, at the hands of an unknown assassin. The sword is no match for Shua. Muyuan stumbles on the sword, but doesn't feel. In pain, something pulls the sword from within the protagonist. No matter what, Shua is determined to kill Muyuan with the sword. In the hand, Umi comes to the rescue and manages to stop the assassin's attack. The girl is in a spiritual state. Shua doesn't know how Muyuan survived. The protagonist thanks the assassin for giving him this opportunity. Ume came to her brother's house to tell him that, thanks to his method, she has reached a spiritual state today. The girl came to thanks to Muyuan. At the age of 9, she was able to reach the spiritual stage, and she has a great future ahead of her. Ahead, the Mu family has grown stronger and cannot be underestimated. The elders and guards rushed to the courtyard and inquired about what had occurred. Muyuan informed them that an assassin had targeted him, which greatly surprised Muyuan. The Mu family has many enemies. The servants searched the house, but they were unable to locate Mujin Chun. After some deliberation, they concluded that one of the elders had fled. In the morning, he bid farewell to his wife. Afraid of change, the old man worried about how the Mu family would react, as he had brought a second son from their family and children, telling them he was returning to his mother in the province. It appeared that he had planned his escape in advance. Mujin Chun was blamed for the attempted murder, and the assassin said something to Muyuan, the last lord of the house. The protagonist's father, an elite member of the Mu family, was murdered by the same man who attempted to kill the young master today. Mujin Chun conspired with the Mu family's enemies in order to seize power, so they didn't let him escape. One of the elders who held the most resentment towards him was also implicated. Muyuan didn't feel much compassion from Jin Chun, but he had hurt his family, and the boy remembered that. The landowner asked Elder Hyun to stay, and he allowed the others to leave. The boy shared his thoughts on the matter, and the old master of the house died. Unexpectedly, losing a magic weapon turned out to be a serious problem. Now that Muyuan was training, he wanted to have some swords at hand. It was important for him that the old man knew where to find them. During the battle, protagonist's sea spirit absorbed part of the sword and restored it. This seems to be the fastest way. He wants to propose marriage, which took everyone by surprise. The man then asked the host if he remembered Jin Chen to repair it. Mujin knows the place where the master can recover the sword. It is a bazaar in the south of the city called Liji Market. Has many weaponsmiths, and the market offers a plethora of goods. For example, if you were to buy a dragon sword, they might give you a second one free or offer a discount on unparalleled armor that will never break. Muyuan then approached one of the weaponsmiths and inquired about the swords he had for sale. The man thanked him for his insightful question and explained that he possessed swords of various shapes, but all of them were imbued with magic. The protagonist wasn't impressed with these weapons, since they were no better than the piles of broken iron and copper in the Mu family's warehouse. The seller assured him that their weapons are the best around, and if the boy doesn't find anything to his liking here, he should head to the Eastern Market. The Eastern Market is like a palace owned by a large family, with hundreds of shops selling all sorts of rare goods. Muyuan decides to go there. The shops look very elegant, so he's sure he can find something good there. A girl asked him how she could help. Muyuan told her he was looking for a sword, and she led him into the store. The swords in the Ji was the second son of the Jin family. He recalled that this boy had been born with a mental disability, They had come to propose. Store were better than the ones the boy had seen in the market, but still not as good as his old sword. He asks the shopkeeper goes to show him other options, asking him to wait a moment before leaving. Unfortunately, the store still doesn't have what he needs. The girl asks the seller for something, but the seller hesitates. The man shows Muyuan another weapon, but it looks good to the young man, but it's not quite right for him. The girl approaches, indignantly saying that not even the sword forged by the best blacksmiths in her family is good enough for the boy. She wonders what Muyuan knows about swords. She is the lady of the house. His sword was once held by the protagonist. It's called Mestra Saber and is a true magical weapon. But that's not enough for Muyuan. The boy answers honestly that this sword is too much for him to handle. The girl prepares to swing. Hit. Miss Saber demonstrates the power of her sword, surprising everyone around her. Muyuan realizes she possesses great strength. He didn't realize girls could be so strong. He now calls the girl a giant monster, commenting on her strength and how he saw nothing special about her initially. This greatly offends Miss Saber. The protagonist now thinks this woman is insane, noting she has marriage to Miss Umi. The man remembered this girl, and even though she wasn't born into his family, her cultivation talent reached at least the third level of the tempered body stage. Even if Muyuan recovers fully, he won't risk it, and they fight with her, but the girl makes mistakes in her attacks. The protagonists manage to dodge her attacks and disarm her. The boy says that the most common technique worked, bids farewell to everyone, and then departs. Finally, the girl learns the name of Muyuan. A few days later, Umi and her brother discuss how much their cultivation has improved. She thanked Muyuan for buying her the elixir. It was much better than the one she had been given at the Hall of Finance. The boy couldn't find a magic weapon that day, but he managed to find an elixir for his sister instead. He spent all his money on it, and one day Gumu Air's cultivation would reach the 4th stage, at which point he would be able to manifest his martial spirit and become Grasboft, stronger. He will work hard to achieve this goal. The heads of the 3 major families and the city lord are coming to the Mo family residence to discuss something important. The boy is unaware of the reason for their visit. Jin Xuan becomes angry because Muyuan is waiting for him. The man doesn't understand his behavior. The Mo family is no longer as compliant as we wish them to be together forever. The boy, covered in bruises and abrasions, lies on the roof of is the highest of her generation. The boy reported that she refused, but the Jin family came with an offer, Muyuan assured. Before, Fengyi Chen, the head of one of the 3 families, is also present at the meeting. He believes that they should teach. In Muyuan's stead, another guest arrives, Min Young Gongsan, a young lord from the Min family. Yun Hei Chen Sang, the city lord. He suggests that everyone should calm down. Jin Chen Swan proposes starting without waiting for the Mu family. Muyuan realizes that Mr. Jin is displeased with their lateness and seems to have forgotten the Mu family's hospitality. Jin Chen Suan was on the verge of a rude retort, but Zhou Chen Sang stopped him. Although he was appointed by the government, the master of this city can only rely on the great families and must whisper like a dog. Muyuan. He asked why those people had come to see his family. He Cheng San tells him that a girl from a prominent family city wants to hunt in Yun Mountain, and Master Yun hopes that the 4 great families will unite to protect her. Muyuan disagrees, pointing out that Jie Chen Su has already arrived today with 3 other major families who are aware of the situation. The Mu family knew nothing about it until now, which means they haven't been taken into consideration. The Lord no longer considers the Mu family important. Everyone knew that as long as he was there, no one would dare to bother his family. This was the man who brought the second son, Mu. Muyuan is unaware of what they are planning and abruptly ends the reception. Jin Chen Swan is furious at Muyuan's refusal. Muyuan hesitated because the girl he intended to hunt was connected to one of the capital's prominent families. Just then, a girl walked in. In the meeting room, there was a girl from the Eastern Market whose family manufactured swords, the mayor. He inquired as to why Madame Gon had decided to visit them herself. He added that if she hadn't come, the men wouldn't. They would have been able to negotiate with Mr. Mu. The girl stated she was unsure why the other families were disregarding the Mu family, but she had personally selected the Mu family to be their protectors. The other attendees were astonished. Jin Chenon wondered why the mayor was so insistent on inviting the Mu family. The lady asked him. The young man, he wondered when Muyuan would find the time to meet Madame Gon. The lady was wondering if the head of the Mu family would help her, and Fengyun Chen tells Muyuan that Mrs. Gon's family is willing to let the guards of the Mu family guard her, but Muyuan continues to refuse. The girl calls him an old man and orders him to shut up. Fengyi Cheng is. The son of the Jin family inquired whether Muyuan's uncle wanted him to take over the family's affairs. Actually only 20 years old. Muyuan explains to Mrs. Gon that the Mu family has been experiencing difficulties lately, and they cannot. Allowing people to be lost, the girl decides not to confront Lord Mu. But at that moment, he noticed the sword in her hands. Judging by Soledad Roja's reaction, he was certain that the girl had prepared for this encounter with him. He asked if she would allow him to be the sole guard of the Mu family. To everyone's surprise, Madame Gong. She responded, "Okay." This situation greatly upset Jin Chen Swan, who wondered what was going through the girl's head, lady's head, and why she was so fond of Muyuan. Fengyi Chen believes Muyuan is very handsome, and that's why Madame Gong wants him. Make him her favorite. The Mu family and the Madame Gong family shouldn't be in a relationship. It's bad for both families. Fini Hin Chenin believes something must be done about this situation. Muyuan will protect Madame Gong. They will be together tomorrow. The men must ensure he doesn't return. They believe Ming Gonan is the wisest among them and seek his advice. He has a plan to get rid of Muyuan. Tomorrow, he will be the only guard for his family, so they don't need to worry. The following day, everyone goes to. The man responded that it was too complicated, explaining that he was the eldest member of the family and only a temporary lord. Yun Mountain. Muyuan has a question for Madame Gong. The boy wonders what is so special about her. The mountain is worth the effort, gathering such a group and traveling all the way from the capital. The girl seems interested in the Wind Dragon. Stormy Yun is a remote and wild place where rare monsters reside, and it's also the location of the Stormy Wind Dragon's core. It will strengthen her spirit. Ming Gonan asks Hin Chenin not to call him Xiao Min. Everyone is wondering if the plan, it will actually work. All sorts of monsters live in the area surrounding Fengyi City, and because of them, the growth of the city has been limited. Jin Chen Swan told him that Yun Mountain was very large, and that the Wind Dragon could be found there. Stormy might be hiding there. The young man suggested splitting up to increase their chances of finding him. Madame Gong thought it was a good idea. Fengyi Cheng wondered if the location was a trap. After all, the three of them also needed to protect Mrs. Gong. If something happened to her, they wouldn't be able to escape. Ming Gong assured them that, considering Madame Gong's strength, it wouldn't be difficult to save her. Muyuan is responsible for protecting her, but his name was Mujin Chun. He said Muyuan is too incompetent, and with his father's death, Mujin Chun should be the master of. Skills are not sufficient. Muyuan wonders why the young lady chose him as her guard. She replies that she has seen his strength and knows no one better. The young man believes there's another reason besides revenge, contrary to what Mrs. Gong suggests. She doesn't see herself as vindictive. The girl was worried the last time Muyuan came to the store. Mrs. Gong brought a sword from the store, and Muyuan was very pleased with the weapon. The girl promised that the sword would be his protection. With her help, Muyuan might overcome his crimson solitude. They spotted blood crows in the clearing, which are very dangerous monsters. Their strength lies in their numbers. The girl knew these monsters usually reside in the north, so it was strange to encounter them here. Muyuan had never heard of monsters like these before. The blood crows began to attack Madame Gong and Muyuan, but Madame Gong killed some of them with his sword. Muyuan and Madame Gong noticed many monsters in the trees. This is very bad. They are surrounded. An unknown man watches them from behind a tree as bloody crows flew by, all over the mountain. Madame Gong had never seen so many monsters, not even in the north, and she was surprised to find them here, this house. The man stated that he must arrange a marriage contract so that the Jin and Mu families can be reunited. The girl didn't care how many crows there were. She would defend herself. Muyuan warned her of the danger behind her. She protected her from the beast, and everything seemed to be going well. Now, Muyuan was able to identify a weak point in the technique. Because of the girl, since they had fought her previously, this caught them off guard. They then heard the roar of the dragon they were searching for. The blood ravens are far too aggressive. They provoked the storm wind dragon. Miss Gong believes that they are in an ambush and should hide amongst the storm trees. Some crows have attacked a man who, he is observing a pair of hunters from behind a tree and is calling for help. The young man and the girl decide, observes. Muyuan smells a strange odor and asks Madon how the blood crows locate their prey. The girl, he answers that it's mostly due to the scent. There was a man lying near them, but the crows didn't pay him any attention. It appeared that he was covered in a perfumed liquid, and after the rain, the scent was carried away, and the crows descended upon him. Blood crows aren't typically found in this area, but the man was prepared for them. Mujin Chun believes the problem lies in the Jin family's strength. He never imagined that, of the 4 families in the, he must have somehow learned about the crows from the mountain. Muyuan figured the stranger had something to do with her appearance. The young man inquired whether Mrs. Gon had any enemies, to which the girl responded that she did. Came secretly. Her enemies shouldn't know she was here, so if they are enemies of Mrs. Gon, they are also enemies of Muyuan. From Muyuan. It seems the crow problem has been resolved. The girl deems it appropriate to inform the others. Muyuan is glad that the birds helped them figure out the dragon's location. The boy has come to assist Aragon to obtain the dragon core. At the foot of the mountain, the men discuss how the rain washed away the scent, ruining the plan. He failed, but he provoked the dragon, nonetheless. Mingon-san ordered them to strip and head up the mountain. They had intended to stay at the foot, but now, the plan has changed. There are no longer any live crows in the vicinity. It seems there's a dragon nearby, and this dragon lives in trees. Due to its size and the constant rain, the trees it inhabits are exceptionally large and thick. The G can change size. Muyuan noticed that the trees were becoming increasingly thin, and Madangon pointed out that the tree, in Fengyi City, the Mu family would have to confront the Jin family. The girl does not want to marry Jin Chenji. Lord, in which the dragon lives, was exceptionally thick and large compared to the surrounding trees. This meant that the tree was absorbing most of the surrounding nutrients, hindering the growth of the other plants around it. The trees walked in the direction where the forest began to thin out. Muyuan instructed the woman to stop. Stopped. The boy then asked the girl to dig a hole in the ground, and she complied with his request. They then saw that, under the ground were large, strong roots, indicating that the tree was nearby. Mrs. Egan had heard that the boy had lived in Fengo since he was a child, and she was surprised that he knew how to hunt monsters in the mountains. Muyuan had read in books that he cannot tell anyone about his past. Lady Gon is convinced that she has chosen the suitable man. The girl says that the dragon will protect her home as best as it can. If they damage the tree, it will reveal itself. They attack the tree and hear the roar of the beast. The dragon is already here, so they must be careful. The beast is very strong, so they will have to work hard to get the core. Muyuan decided to distract the dragon and use the sword finger spell. Jin interpreted this as a sign that his second son was being looked down upon, or that Miss Umi doesn't respect the sword fingers. Miss Gon was able to wound the dragon, causing it to shrink in size. There was no need to. Being accommodating, he wouldn't give up. The dragon shrunk to the size of a snake. The tree that they found nearby was very large, resembling a dragon's lair, but Muyuan couldn't see it. He suspects that the dragon might have escaped. The girl is certain that the dragon wouldn't have abandoned its home and is somewhere nearby. Suddenly, the dragon wrapped its arm around her and was about to bite Madangon, but Muyuan pulled her back, stopped her. The girl wanted to deliver a decisive blow, but the dragon escaped. Muyuan reminded the girl that there was something wrong with his technique, inquired whether the girl had always possessed such immense strength. She explained that it was attributed to his martial arts. Judging by the fact that he utilizes the dragon core for cultivation, his technique is the dragon technique. She believes the dragon is powerful and dominant, and it's not solely about brute strength. Dragons are able to be powerful, but they also shapeshift and conceal themselves. This dragon not only summons storm clouds, but also attacks. Jin Family. Mujin Chun yelled at his niece, telling her that she had no right to attend the council meetings and interrupt, stealthily. Lady Gon's attacks are powerful, but she doesn't pay attention to other subtleties, therefore she doesn't manage to attack the dragon. Lord Min and his guards, who had spotted the dragon from the mountainside, approached him, and they rushed to help. Lady Gon cautioned them to be careful, as the dragon was lurking somewhere nearby. The beast seized one of Lord Min's guards. Muyuan suggested that the girl climb up a tree. She didn't understand the reason for doing so. The boy explained that he wanted to observe from a higher vantage point. Ming Gonzan ordered his guards to protect her. Muyuan pledged to teach Miss Gon a powerful sword technique that would prove useful to her. The dragon already. He has slaughtered several guards. The last one begs his master to flee, but he is unable to move due to the sword technique. The snake technique worked, piercing the dragon's head, causing the dragon not to separate, and allowing the girl to cultivate the energy. Ming Gonzan thanked Muyuan for saving him. Without Muyuan's intervention, the boy would already be dead. Muyuan thinks that Mr. Min arrived at the perfect moment because, thanks to him, they were able to find the dragon. Ming Ganan wonders how, building, and looks at the sky. Upon awakening, Muyuan realizes that he has been reborn. He never expected that the conversations. Lady Umi insists that she will not marry, even if it means facing death. The eldest son of the family, Muyuan, obtained so much strength. Muyuan asks Mr. Min if he has ever been attacked by strange, black birds. The man replies that they encountered crows, but there were only a few, and they were easy to deal with. Mingon-san is familiar with these monsters because his mother is from the north, and he spent much of his childhood there. Unfortunately, the crows they brought didn't kill Muyuan, but their plan is still working. There is no evidence. Mrs. Gon takes the core and offers to go back to investigate the liquid that the man had smeared on her to mask her scent when Miss B was threatened. None of the distant relatives were around, but once the problem is resolved, the subordinates of Mingon and San secured the evidence, and now Muyuan possesses proof. They all return together. Muyuan survived, so his plan failed. The forest isn't a suitable place for discussion. They need to return and discuss the details. A thief has broken into the family compound. Mu arrived, but Muyuan didn't allow him to enter. The boy was waiting for someone to arrive and retrieve the evidence. There are those who cannot remain idle. The man pleads for mercy, claiming he's just a common thief who attempted to. Jin asks if his brother is worthy of the girl, questioning if the second son of the Jin family is worthy of becoming a member. Steal something from the family. Muyuan doesn't believe him. The head of the Mu family doesn't want to kill the thief, but he is capable of doing it himself. Make him beg for death. The man must choose between life and death. The Mu family is coming for a visit to the Min family. Min Gonzan's husband confessed everything. Muyuan waited for an explanation, but there really wasn't one. Proof. And Min Gonzan surrendered. Mrs. Gon asked if the young man would speak of his own volition, or if she would have to force him. Mr. Min asked that they listen to him. His family deals with monsters and beasts. Blood ravens only eat meat, and they use these birds to hunt monsters. The girl is angry because her family didn't take the blood crows with them. Knowing that she would be hunting in the mountains, the girl had gone to hunt on Mount Ron just yesterday, but the crows weren't there. It's impossible to hunt all the birds there in a single night. Muyuan believes that Mingon-san sent him and Madame Gon directly into the birds' trap and ordered a man to mark them. Gone directly into the birds' mouths and sent a man to mark them. The young man denies this, claiming he sent his man to ensure her safety, that he had no ill intentions, and he swears he didn't want to harm Madame Gon. Man to ensure her safety, that he had no ill intentions, and he swears he did not want to harm Madame Gon. He was foolish enough to cross paths with Madame Gon's family. From the Mu family, Muyuan entered the council room, where Jin Chen Xuan addressed him in an unacceptably rude tone, enough to cross paths with Madame Gon's family. He ordered Mingun-san to kneel, but the boy refused. Muyuan helped him, and the girl believed him, but Min had endangered both her and Mu's family, so he would be punished. His punishment would be decided upon his return to the capital, and his master would determine the punishment for the Mu family. Muyuan thanked the girl. The Honorable Mingon-san was severely beaten for his actions. Muyuan warned that if the boy decided to conspire against him, he should remember his face. Mr. Min will definitely remember this feat. The Jin family thinks Muyuan is too arrogant. Now he is siding with Madame Gon and has completely forgotten himself. It remains to be seen what punishment Madame Gon will impose on Mingun-san. She will announce her decision upon her return to the capital. If her family decides to execute the Min clan lord, the Feng and Hin families will not allow it. Before Madame Gon returns to the capital, she will have an accident. This is Mingun-san's new plan. His friends do not support this plan. Such an act will ultimately anger the Gon family, but they insist that this way they can kill Muyuan, killing two. Muyuan was supposed to stay and receive treatment, but at that time, Jin Chen Xuan had heard that the young man, birds with one stone. They don't know how to accomplish this because their plan has already failed once, according to Mingun-san's spies. Maiden Gon is now in the Mo family, and 2 hours have passed, yet Maiden Gon still hasn't finished cultivating a spirit. A battle spirit appeared behind him. He finally absorbed the dragon core and advanced to the next level. It was a storm wind dragon martial spirit, so it's no wonder it was so strong. Miss Gon was able to reach a unique level. The girl gave him the promised reward, and the young man was exultant, especially since Joan was going barehanded. The girl asked him why he was so meticulous about the quality of the sword, and the young man explained that he wasn't. He needed the sword not only as a weapon, but also to cultivate his spirit, just like in the dragon house. For Madame Gon, it was the first. That was the first time the girl had ever heard something like that. Muyuan promised to teach her the method. Mumei, who was searching for her brother, then approached them. The girl told him that her mother wanted to meet him. Muyuan didn't realize that it was his sister's mother, who was actually her aunt. Jenin, the woman's brother, entered the room and reminded her that she had been expelled from the Mu family. The man thought, had been at home for a long time, never going out. The eldest son of the Jin family noticed that Muyuan's eyes, that there was no need to greet Lord Mu. Aunt Jenin clarified that he was her brother, Wenin. They hadn't come to see Gume, but to, the previous head of the Mu family took the girl away, a fact that saddened all the servants, including Aunt Jenin, also Mujin Chun. He didn't allow Gumi to play sports, and recently, he tried to force her into marriage against her will. The previous lord of the Mu family left behind a disaster. The girl wanted to say something to protect the Mu family, but her mother stopped her. Wen Sim thinks that the Mu family has brainwashed the girl, and he doesn't want to tolerate it. He wants to take Lady Gumi and the Jenin family away. Mr. Jenin seems to care a lot for his niece, but when she came home, he didn't even say. In short, Muyuan put the aunt to shame for not letting her daughter finish speaking. The girl explained that Muyuan treated her well, spending his own money on an elixir for her and providing her with martial arts techniques to practice. Gume doesn't want to leave the Mu family. The previous head of the Mu family treated Aunt Wang poorly. Now that Muyuan is the new family head, she can return if she wishes. The boy refuses to let his sister be separated from the family. He instructs the servants to escort the had become different. Although Muyuan had become the new master, his strength was still limited. Guests to the exit. Gume's mother suggests to her brother that he leave the girl alone, as she has decided not to leave the family. The Mu family, but Lord Wen will not allow Muyuan to remain with them. Boom is their last hope, and they will fight for her. Wen Yin went to the Ming family, seeking assistance. It was Lord Ming who provided him with the information that the Mu family was exploiting his niece, Ming Gonan. He had been observing the girl and her family for a considerable time. Wen Yin tells him that Gumi has decided to remain with Lord Mu, rejecting both him and his mother. Lord Ming assures him that the girl is still just a child. Everyone in Fengyi knows that Muyuan is manipulating her and wants to control the girl. Like a puppy, he doesn't want to give her up so easily. Gumi possesses a rare talent for martial arts. Buane's family is being exploited as a business venture. Wenin feels it is his duty to return and try again. Muyuan is in his room, holding a new sword and cultivating the inner vision that has opened up to him. He has recovered his hand. Sao Jin, the Sao Yan Sangjiao hand, was restored when he opened the two meridians. Family matters had always been handled by Mujin Chun, so he didn't know why Muyuan had come. The uncle. Muyuan received new swords from Madan Gon. Mumei came to visit him, and they decided to have tea together. The boy supposed that his sister wanted to ask him about cultivation, since he arrived very late, but the girl told him that her mother had returned. The woman suggested that her daughter stay with the Wen family for a while, as they had recently opened a large business and were living in Beijing. The girl had grown up with the Mu family since she was little, and her grandparents had never seen her. Muyuan knows that his family hopes to meet her, and the girl herself wants to meet the family, so the boy decides to let his sister go. Gume is overjoyed and cannot refuse. The girl hugs him and tells him that it is for the best. Running to collect their belongings at the entrance to Fengyi City, mom and uncle run into Ume. Wenin is certain that as long as they have the girl, Muyuan won't be able to force them to return to Muyuan's house. The head of the Mu family tells them that his friend will accompany them. It was Mrs. Gon from Peking. The man immediately thought that if he ended up at the Gon family's residence, there would be nothing to worry about. He doesn't mind the girl going with them, especially since she is. He was surprised to see his nephew in the meeting room. He thought his nephew should be resting. Nevertheless, a friend of the Mu family. Muyuan tells Mrs. Gon that it is up to her to decide. The girl considers using her. The family is pressuring Wenzin, which is underhanded. Muyuan has no choice because his uncle won't allow Gume to return. The young man can only rely on the Gon family for help, and now he owes Madan Gon an insurmountable debt. This is what they agreed upon. The carriage departed from Fengyi, heading towards Beijing. The journey to the capital had begun, and would take approximately 3 days. The girl had hoped the journey would be longer, as Fengyi isn't far from the capital. Wen Xin had advised his niece to befriend Madan, as she belonged to a noble family. Gume's mother had heard that Madan, she was training so that her daughter could receive guidance from her. The lady responded that Muyuan was far better than she was at training people, so Gume could learn a great deal from the Mu family. A massive boulder broke off from the rock and obstructed their path. Wenin exited his carriage to assess the situation and was wounded in the heart by an arrow. The bandits attacked the carriages and killed everyone. Mrs. Gon emerged to teach them a lesson. Muyuan will handle everything himself. Now, he has no intention of remaining in the dark and waiting for those. The bandits noticed that the girl possessed a key level. One of the bandits climbed onto Gumei's carriage, but the girl managed to. Defender Se offered his help. Lady Gon had to protect her mother. The girl shielded Gumei with her shield. Good. Ready. It was time for the girls to leave. The enormous man destroyed the carriage that Gumei's mother was in. Gumei. Now Gumei's mother was dead. The girl tried to defend her, but she was attacked in the same manner. Her sword was broken. Maiden Gon picked her up in his arms. He hadn't expected the assassins to be so bloodthirsty. It seemed that she would have to deal with them herself. Standing before her was a human transformation of a spirit of battle raged under the wreckage of the chariot where the blood of Gumei's mother was visible. The girl's face was streaked with tears. The assassin offered no resistance, promising a swift death in exchange. The human spirit form possessed a level of cultivation far superior to that of Miss Gon. His martial spirit can be utilized in battles of the condensed state level, but to assume human form, one must be at least at the Suyuan state level. There is a people to threaten him at his own doorstep. The boy thinks his uncle doesn't deserve to be the master of the house. The uncle asks him not to. Significant difference in strength between them, making the girl's chances extremely slim, but she can use a containment spell. The assassin is confident that she won't be able to handle his spirit hammer. The opponent's martial arts are stronger, but not limitless. The opponent's spirit has a time limit, and it can't be used indefinitely. As long as Miss Gon doesn't restrain him, she and Gumei will have time to escape. He picked up the girl and tried to hide among the trees. The bandits receive the order to stop them, and they shoot arrows at them. An arrow strikes the girl in the shoulder. Mrs. Gon is unharmed and must continue fleeing. Thanks to Muyuan, Mrs. Gon started considering alternative applications for martial arts. Otherwise, so many people could have died. He couldn't even handle one girl. His bandits were a bunch of useless garbage. Guman was nowhere to be found, and he was in bad shape, barely able to fight. Maiden Gon suggested they scatter in different directions and not look back, so that the brigands wouldn't be able to find them. The girl fled first. Maiden Gon tricked her. Instead of running in the opposite direction, Lady Jasia would suddenly attack him on their wedding night. It seems that all the rumors about her marrying him turned out. Look at him like that. The nephew is sure that he isn't where he should be. Mujin Chun wants to talk to Muyuan about him. She stayed behind to fight the bandit leader. He quickly located her and asked her. The girl would fight to the death. As the hammer ghost began to approach her, she created a hole beneath herself. She disappeared into it, confusing the ghost. The bandit decided that the girl was hiding in a hole like a mouse. She snuck underground. Right at the assassin's feet, the girl peered at him through a crack in the floor. She remembered Muyuan's words, that dragons can reveal themselves and hide, become small and large, short and long. The spring equinox reaches for the sky. The summer equinox hides underground. Don't just focus on him. Dragon Force. Miss Gon attacks the bandit from behind, but he manages to sense her approach. Such a weak attack has no effect on him, but the girl isn't expecting such actions to succeed. She has another plan. She created a hole beneath the man, into which he fell. Her plan worked, and she managed to injure the bandit, but she was then attacked by his spirit. Man was outraged that the woman dared to strike him. He saw a dragon flying towards him from the ground, and he wouldn't allow. He wants to make the boy pay for his words. His strength is more than enough to crush the boy like an ant. Another trick. His spirit struck the dragon with a mallet, and the impact tore off a piece of stone that Miss Gon was licking the girl, promising to continue later. 5 days later, the mayor arrives to visit the family. Mew is confused. Muyuan finally came to see him, as they urgently needed to meet and discuss something. He brings disappointing news. The Jin family was attacked, and their entire caravan was killed. The bodies of Mboom and Miss Gon have not been found, and their survival is unknown. Not many people would dare to attack the Mew family. Perhaps Mujin Chun is one of them. Muyuan is furious that his uncle dared to return, convinced that, as an elder, he must clear the family name. He believes the boy kidnapped Madame Gon. The village elder demands proof, and Mujin Chun tells him that he knows everything about the Mu family and that Muyuan was born. Extravagant and foolish, he was always afraid that someone would steal his title of lieutenant, so he got rid of everyone who they were in cahoots with him, like Mu Mei. The family went after Mu Mei, but Muyuan didn't want the situation to get out of hand. Suddenly, Muyuan employed a circular evasion technique, one that a person at the spiritual stage shouldn't have been able to dodge. Out of hand. The man replied that Jin Chun had plotted and escaped, and that they were now listening in on him. For some reason, the man believes his nephew framed him, which is why he had to leave home to continue with his life. He didn't expect Muyuan to be so bold as to commit such an act, even involving Mrs. Gon in it. Muyuan ordered him to keep his mouth shut. An unknown man stood up to defend the old man. It was Master Gon Junchi. The man asked Mr. Gon if he had no evidence and requested that he bring something forth. He had previously searched the Mu family's house. This was done without Muyuan's permission. Mr. Gon explained that this was a special case, and perhaps the man might have concealed the evidence if he had been aware of it. Record. His subordinates presented him with the evidence. It was the hilt of a magical sword that his daughter had requested before. Leaving, Muyuan explained that Lady Gon had given her the sword herself, but her father didn't believe it because his daughter understands the value of this weapon and would never give the sword to someone outside their family. Madame Gon believes that this blow. In this critical situation, the new body began to surge with mystical energy. This was a sensation. Head of the Mu family is being unfair to him. The man is too powerful. Muyuan is no longer a match for him. He demands to be. Judge, Mr. Chen Sang has promised to act impartially and in accordance with all the regulations. Muyuan then. He turns to Mr. Gon and states that there are no rules that permit judging a man simply for finding a pod in his home. The uncle. He believed Muyuan had no right to speak to his lord Gon Yunqi in such a manner and ordered Muyuan's arrest. The guards. They attempted to apprehend him, but he chose to defend himself. Gon Yunqi is unsure of the technique being used. He suspects the man is at the spiritual stage, but then it's unclear where he acquired his abilities. The lord employed his strength, but Muyuan dodged the attack and managed to break through some walls. The guy didn't want to run away because he wasn't guilty. Mr. Gon gave him 3 days to resolve the case. If it turned out that the Mo family had nothing to do with it, then the Gon family would pay the price. The man added that his sister was also missing and that he would investigate even if no one asked him to. The man then said goodbye and left. Mujin Chun couldn't believe what he was seeing. His nephew was able to come back after the attack. Familiar to Muyuan, the guest didn't realize what had just happened. The boy with mental issues was by Gon Yunqi. The town judge is about to leave, but Muyuan is taking care of Mujin Chun since he is a witness. 3 days. Then they meet again. Zhou Chensang realizes that the young master is afraid Mujin Chun will run away, and at that moment, the heads of the Fen and Sen families are having dinner in the Jin family courtyard, discussing their wonderful plan. From Mingon, Sanji, and they believe that Muyuan is no longer alive. If Jin Chen Xuan hadn't brought Mujin Chun, this wouldn't have happened. This person could cause a lot of trouble for Muyuan, so Jin Chen Xuan, of course, kept him close. But the danger for them wasn't over yet, as Miss Gon and Mie had escaped. Fen Yuncheng assures that the mercenaries will find them sooner or later, and there won't be any more problems. Jin Chen Xuan didn't know anything about the mercenaries. Mr. Fen knows nothing about these bandits. All he knows is that they do their job cheaply. Now, all the forces in the city are looking for the girls. He has hired these mercenaries many times before, and they have never failed. Muyuan arrived at the scene and found part of an arrow, shot by a professional. He realized, enjoying the fight, and demanded that it continue. Jin Chenzhuan couldn't believe that Muyuan was able to dodge the fortet. He realizes that the thieves were from the same group as the ones who tried to kill him. He determined the direction in which the Miss Gon and Gume, you should hide. He located the area where the girls were most likely engaged in combat. Muyuan looked into the water and noticed something unusual. He started moving towards the girls. A rustling sound came from within the bushes. It was Gume. Muyuan asked her how she was feeling, but the girl responded that her mother and the others had died. He was already aware of that, and the nurse informed him that Mrs. Gon was still alive. He and Gume parted ways. The girl ran downriver. Time is running out. Muyuan wants to take the nurse home first and then return to get Mrs. Gon. The girl is sure that they must first find Maiden Gon and return together. Gume was in pain, but she bravely persevered and said that Maden was struck by several arrows, and she defended Maden from them. The girl had lost a lot of blood and was now even more of a priority. Her brother agreed to search for her, but with one condition. If Bumi became ill, they would turn back. Her brother promised to take care of her. They arrived at the river's mouth, but they didn't see Mrs. Gon. She must have been in trouble. Jin Chun throws a punch. The temporary master won't back down. He will kill his nephew. The elders have entered the meeting room. Muyuan spotted a sword at the bottom of the river. It turned out to be Mrs. Gon's sword. It seems the girl had fallen into the lake, and he left the sword there as a signal. The boy decided to look underwater, telling his sister to hide and keep watch, to keep an eye out. The girl promised to do so. Muyuan cast a water defense spell. The lake wasn't too large, so it wouldn't be difficult to find Maden Gon. There were no visible traces on the bottom, so it was most likely that Maden Gon was here. Muyuan stood up and accidentally discovered a hidden passage. In that very second, he fell right into it. It could be that Madame Gon was trapped here. A beautiful young girl was walking towards him. They know that Jin Chun attacked the master while they were away, but he won't confess. This is Elder Mujin Chun. Before, he didn't even dare to say a word in front of the Jin family, but now he will tell everything. Muyuan herself was really surprised by his transformation. She thought that Mujin Chun lacked strength, that he was nothing more than a beast. To be true, his brother Rantan and the Emperor had always wanted to get rid of him. Despite this, he tried. He had only been in this position for a week. Once the true master appeared, Jin Chun would have to face the consequences. Leaving their business behind to return to work, the house now belongs to Muyuan. The J family is overjoyed by their return. Muyuan's side wants the new master to sign a marriage contract. The old man believes that, when speaking with the new master, he's concealing his real identity. How can he do that with the master of the house still present? The situation is very serious. Mrs. Bumi pleads with them not to sign the contract. Muyuan promises not to sign the contract without his sister's consent. Sister. He then announces that it is time for the guests to depart. According to Jin Chen Swan, Muyuan has forgotten the situation in the LC. Who is found, can live peacefully with his family in Fengyi, and subsequently signs a marriage contract. However, it's not Muyuan who wants Jin Chenin to be her protector. She warns her not to cause trouble for the Mu family, but Chenin promises that family will disintegrate, and Muyuan will have no support in Fen if she misses the opportunity to ally with the Jin family. Then, the Mu family will disappear within 6 months. The new master of the Mu family believes he is currently speaking to he treated his brother and sister as close relatives and never doubted them, but suddenly it was all over. God granted him a bunch of fools. Chenan, thinking he had successfully scared him, decided to intimidate him even further, invoking the name of the Jin family. Gives Muyuan one last chance, promising that the Mu family will immediately be under the protection of the Jin family as soon as the treaty is signed. The protagonist dislikes this arrangement and tells the guest to be quiet. Jin Chenin is indignant that this man dares to yell at him, but Muyuan slaps him across the face. The elders are horrified by what is happening. Jin Chen, who was enjoying the duel, didn't even notice Muyuan's punch. Jin Chun thought that the young master's behavior was inappropriate. Chen Zuan is shocked by the turn of events. For such an act, Muyuan is beating him like a dog today, and as he's beating him, Jin Chen Swan begs Elder Ru for mercy. He asks him to let his master go. In response, he receives a punch. Jin Chen Swan then seems to enjoy the fight. He shouldn't have been brought to the Mu family's house today. The boy decides to stop. He really wants to use the 1,000 sword fingers, but his body is still too weak to withstand such force. He kicks the guests out the door. Jin Chen Swan swears to avenge new birth, and he wants to return to the city of the Heavenly Emperor to avenge his murder, Muyuan's new body. Today's disgrace, becoming 1,000 times stronger. Muyuan advises him to leave and sleep it off at home. Chen Swan promises that within a month, the Mu family will be gone forever. Mujin Chen believes that the new master is disgracing the Mu family with such actions. He doesn't know how they will be able to exist in the future. The elders believe that, although the young master didn't want to sign the marriage contract, he shouldn't have insulted Master Jin. It was truly reckless. Elder Mujian's opinion is interesting. To the surprise of the others, she thinks that the man did the right thing. After all, the Jin family constantly deceives people. If they were to back out, things would only go worse. He doesn't know what happened with the previous teacher and thinks it's best not to ask. The teacher gave a lesson to Hin Chen Xuan, warned his family to stay away from the Mu family. The young master sees that there are still brave people in his family. The old man says that today the teacher showed that the Mu family has pride. It was a good thing. An opportunity to say a few words, even without the Jing family. The Mu family is discouraged at the moment, but is too weak, and his breathing is labored. To develop and become strong, he cannot be afraid of difficulties. It won't be for long. Now that Muyuan has power, they must prepare for war. He gave a speech about how not to. It mattered what was in the family's past. And now that he has returned, the boy promises that no one will ever dare to touch his family again, and anyone who dares to challenge the Mu family will die. The boy was glad to be rid of his guests. In the hallway, he felt a strange force within his body. He uses the inner vision method to realize what is happening. Muyuan sees the sword of red loneliness in his mind, but he doesn't know how it got there. The sword was something he obtained when he infiltrated the palace of red solitude. Could it be that it transformed into a sword whose energy can accumulate within the body? Muyuan didn't expect the sword to be revived along with him. The palace of the Red Solitude seemed to have sustained severe damage, and the young man was able to examine the sword closely within his sea of spirit. The palace of Red Solitude is incredibly vast. Although the sword is broken, the boy can sense a faint flow of energy from the playing chaos surrounding him. It's remarkably similar to the sea of spirit from his previous life. Numerous small fragments surround. Difficulties. Someone called him Master, which really surprised the young man. His new body had the same name as before, the sword, and are recoverable. Control these fragments with your mind, and they will merge with the sword. Muyuan felt as if someone had passed right through him. Such was the power that every action carried such an effect. Otherwise, he began to destroy everything all over again. Finally, it was all over. The guy didn't even expect to be able to recover. Even a fragment of the sword, he nearly lost his mind. It took all of his energy to restore even a portion of the sword. It will take many years for it to recover fully. Unfortunately, he doesn't see any way to recover the sword any faster. Mujin Chun now hates his nephew for publicly humiliating him. Publicly humiliating the other party seems that the young master doesn't realize what he's doing. If the boy keeps acting like this, the Mu family will have a bright future. The man has years serving the family and has no intention of ever abandoning it. He will forgive his nephew if Muyuan forces him to. The families from several surrounding cities refer to themselves as the Four Great Families. Muyuan is looking for something good within his family. He ordered the guards to open the vault door. Inside, he found two